A pseudo class acts as if we've added a class to an element that's already in the document. Pseudo elements act as if a whole new element was inserted and then CSS applied. So pseudo elements match virtual elements that don't exist in the document tree. So without pseudo elements, if I wanted to do something different with the first letter of this paragraph, I'd actually need to wrap it in a span. So I'm adding a span element, and I could then just target that class. And there we go, I'm making that first letter larger. So essentially the first letter selector targets that first letter without the need of adding a class. So we can remove that. And instead I'm going to do intro double colon first letter, and that has the same effect. So you can see here that these pseudo element selectors use a double colon syntax rather than the single colon of the pseudo class selectors. We can also target the first formatted line of text. So here we go, we've now got our first line of text and we've made it larger and we've coloured it red. Now the interesting thing about this, if I drag the window in and out, you'll see that it's always the first line. Now we couldn't actually do this by adding a class, we'd have to guess what the first line would be. Because this is done with CSS, if we change our browser window, it's always the first line as that is displayed in the browser. We also have the pseudo elements before and after, and these give us the ability to insert generated content before and after another element. So here I've got this paragraph, it's got a class of story, and it says this is my very short story, and we can use these pseudo elements to add content before and after. So if I say story before, and here's where we insert some content. So we use content, and I'm going to insert once upon a time, and you can see that that has now been added before, and we can do the same with after. And you can see how that's now appeared in the document once upon a time. This is my very short story, which is in the HTML, and the end. And you can style this generated content. So we can tidy this up. Let's say display block, and so you can just style this like anything else in CSS. And let's do the same for the content at the end there. There we go. So adding text using CSS, that might seem a little bit of a strange thing to do. You can actually do lots of other things with generated content, and if you go on to study the CSS Layout Fundamentals course, you'll see how we can use this functionality to improve our layouts.